Hey, can you hear me?
Don't call the police!
Listen to me, I'm calling an ambulance!
There's someone following us!
Single dad stopped to help an injured Hell's Angel, not knowing. It was all part of the plan. When Ryan Callahan stopped to help a crashed biker on Highway 101, he thought he was just being a good Samaritan until he discovered the accident was bait in a war he never knew existed. October rain hammered Highway 101 north of San Francisco as Ryan Callahan's beat-up Honda fought through sheets of water that turned asphalt into rivers. At 11:47 p.m., traffic was sparse, just long-haul truckers and late-shift workers navigating the treacherous mountain curves where guardrails were suggestions and mistakes were fatal. Lightning illuminated redwood forests that lined the highway like ancient sentinels, while thunder masked the sounds of civilization, creating perfect conditions for predators who hunted in darkness. At 34, Ryan had spent 2 years as single father after his wife Lisa died in a car accident that shattered more than his heart. It destroyed their middle-class stability. His daughter Charlotte, now 8, didn't understand why they'd moved from their suburban home to a cramped apartment, why Daddy worked double shifts at the warehouse, or why her friends stopped coming over. Ryan's life had become mathematical precision work. Daycare pickup, dinner, homework, bedtime repeated endlessly to maintain the illusion that everything was under control. His Honda had 180,000 miles and needed transmission work he couldn't afford. Charlotte needed school supplies, winter clothes, and dental work that insurance didn't cover. Every month was a tightrope walk between rent and utilities, between providing and failing. Tonight's drive home from his second job, night security at a medical facility, represented another 12-hour day in a life measured by hours worked rather than moments lived. He'd missed Charlotte's school play rehearsal again, trading presents for paychecks that never stretched far enough. Through the rain and darkness, Ryan's headlights caught something that made him brake instinctively, a motorcycle wrapped around a guardrail, its rider motionless on wet asphalt 20 feet beyond the impact point. The Harley-Davidson's chrome was twisted into abstract sculpture while its owner lay face down in a growing pool of blood that mixed with rainwater, creating crimson streams that disappeared into storm drains. Ryan pulled over despite every instinct screaming about personal safety, liability concerns, and the wisdom of involving himself in situations beyond his control. But the man wasn't moving, and Highway 101's isolation meant help might not arrive for 30 minutes. "Sir, can you hear me?" Ryan called out, approaching cautiously while dialing 911. The rider was massive, 6'4", leather vest over muscled frame, gray beard streaked with blood from head trauma that looked severe. "Dispatch, I've got motorcycle accident on Highway 101, mile marker 47. Rider is unconscious. Possible head injury. Need paramedics immediately." Ryan knelt beside the biker, checking for pulse while noting patches on his vest. Hell's Angels Oakland president, Bones McKenzie. The name meant nothing to Ryan, but the death's head insignia was unmistakable. This man belonged to America's most notorious motorcycle club. "Bones, stay with me," Ryan said, applying pressure to head wounds while monitoring breathing. Basic first aid from his warehouse safety training might keep this stranger alive until professionals arrived. But Bones's eyes opened with startling clarity for someone who just crashed at highway speed. "You stopped," he said quietly, studying Ryan's face with professional assessment. "Don't try to move," Ryan replied, maintaining pressure on wounds that seemed less severe than initial appearances suggested. Paramedics are coming. What's your name? Bones asked with conversational tone that seemed inappropriate for someone bleeding on wet asphalt. Ryan Callahan. Listen, you need medical attention. Ryan Callahan. Bones repeated thoughtfully. Single dad, works double shifts, drives a Honda with transmission problems, lives at Mountain View Apartments, Unit 2B. Ryan's blood froze. This stranger knew details about his life that no random motorcyclist should possess. How do you know? Because we've been watching you for 3 weeks, Bones interrupted, sitting up despite Ryan's protests. This accident? Part of the plan. The revelation hit Ryan like physical blow. The helpful stranger had been manipulated into a situation he didn't understand, involving people whose reputation for violence was legendary throughout California. Plan for what? Ryan demanded, backing away from Bones, who was standing with mobility that contradicted his apparent injuries. Plan to keep you alive, Bones replied, removing fake blood packets from his vest. You just don't know you're in danger yet. Bones studied Ryan's confusion with something approaching sympathy. 3 weeks ago, you witnessed something at your security job that certain people want to keep quiet. They've been planning to eliminate that problem, meaning you, but we've been planning to prevent that. Ryan's mind raced through recent security shifts, trying to identify what he might have seen that warranted death threats from unknown enemies. I don't know what you're talking about. October 15th, 2:30 a.m. You were doing rounds at Peninsula Medical Center when you saw men in suits removing files from Dr. Patricia Chen's office. You thought it was administrative work, but those men were stealing evidence of illegal drug trials that killed 12 patients. The memory crystallized men with expensive suits and briefcases, moving with purpose through darkened medical facility. Ryan had assumed they belonged there, noting nothing suspicious about their presence until Bones's revelation reframed everything. Those men work for a pharmaceutical company worth billions, Bones continued. Your witness testimony could destroy them, so they've hired professionals to ensure your silence permanently. Ryan felt reality shifting beneath his feet as his simple life as struggling single father was revealed to be cover story in someone else's dangerous game. Why do Hell's Angels care about pharmaceutical companies? Ryan asked, still processing the impossibility of his situation. Because one of those 12 dead patients was my daughter, Bones replied with quiet fury. And you're the only witness who can help us get justice. Sometimes being a good Samaritan means discovering you're already part of someone else's war. Your daughter? Ryan struggled to process Bones's revelation while sirens approached through the storm. You're telling me pharmaceutical executives killed your daughter through illegal drug trials? Bones's expression hardened with grief that explained his motivation. Jennifer McKenzie, age 28, single mother with cancer who volunteered for experimental treatment through Peninsula Medical, died from drug interactions that company knew would be fatal, but tested anyway. Ryan watched emergency vehicles arrive, their lights casting red and blue shadows through the rain. Bones, if this is true, why not go to police? FBI? Why involve me? Because Pinnacle Pharmaceuticals owns police through political donations and judges through campaign contributions, Bones replied, waving paramedics away with obvious fake injuries. Only way to get justice is through evidence you saw being stolen files that prove they knew treatment was lethal. The staged accident was revealed as recruitment operation designed to gain Ryan's cooperation through gradual revelation rather than direct intimidation that might have sent him fleeing to authorities Pinnacle already controlled. "I can't get involved in Hell's Angels business," Ryan protested. "I have a daughter who needs me." "Ryan, you're already involved whether you realize it or not." Day 2, Ryan's paranoia intensified when he noticed black SUVs following him to work, Charlotte's daycare, and the grocery store. Professional surveillance teams were documenting his routine while preparing for elimination that Bones had warned about. "Daddy, why are those men watching us?" Charlotte asked during their walk to school, her 8-year-old instincts recognizing threats that adults might miss. Ryan's protective instincts flared as he realized his daughter was also at risk from pharmaceutical company's cleanup operation. Pinnacle wouldn't hesitate to eliminate witnesses and their families to protect billion-dollar profits from illegal drug trials. Bones contacted Ryan through encrypted messaging app. Surveillance team confirmed Pinnacle hired Blackwater contractors to handle their problem. You've got maybe 48 hours before they move. Ryan faced impossible choice: cooperate with Hell's Angels in war against pharmaceutical corruption, or flee with Charlotte to uncertain safety while abandoning everything they'd built since Lisa's death. That evening, Ryan discovered his apartment had been searched professionally, nothing obviously disturbed, but subtle signs revealed intrusion by experts who'd cataloged his life while preparing for his elimination. "Charlotte, we're going to visit Grandma earlier than planned," Ryan lied, packing emergency bags while his daughter slept. Day 3, Ryan's escape attempt was intercepted at Highway 101 on-ramp by 4 black SUVs that boxed in his Honda with military precision. Professional killers prepared to eliminate single father and his daughter to protect pharmaceutical profits. But Hell's Angels had anticipated this scenario. 20 Harleys surrounded the SUVs, while armed bikers demanded Ryan's release from corporate assassins who'd underestimated their opposition. "Gentlemen, you're surrounded by people who don't respect corporate authority," Bones announced through bullhorn. "Release the father and child, then explain to your employers that witnesses are under Hell's Angels protection now." The standoff lasted 30 minutes before Blackwater contractors retreated rather than engage motorcycle club willing to kill for their principles. Ryan and Charlotte were escorted to Hell's Angels clubhouse under armed protection from pharmaceutical company's murder squad. "Daddy, are we going to be okay?" Charlotte asked, overwhelmed by motorcycles, leather-clad bikers, and armed confrontation that had erupted around her simple life. "Yes, sweetheart," Ryan replied, hoping his promise wasn't lie. "These men are going to keep us safe while we figure things out." Hell's Angels Oakland Clubhouse became fortress where Ryan and Charlotte lived under protection while Bones planned assault on Pinnacle Pharmaceuticals that would require Ryan's testimony about stolen evidence he'd witnessed. "Ryan, we've got 48 hours before Pinnacle moves their operation offshore," Bones explained during strategy meeting. "Your witness statement is only way to get federal investigation that can stop them. But cooperating meant testifying against company with resources to kill federal witnesses, judges, and investigators who threatened their profits. Ryan would be trading temporary Hell's Angels protection for lifetime target status from pharmaceutical criminals. "What happens to Charlotte if I testify and they kill me?" Ryan asked with parental desperation that Bones understood completely. Same thing that happens if you don't testify and they kill you anyway, Bones replied grimly. Difference is, testifying gives us chance to destroy them before they destroy you. Ryan studied Charlotte playing with bikers' children in clubhouse that had become unlikely sanctuary from corporate assassins. His daughter deserved safety that could only come from eliminating threats rather than running from them forever. Bones, what exactly do you need me to do? Sometimes protecting your children means destroying the monsters who hunt them. Day 4. Pinnacle Pharmaceuticals escalated beyond assassination attempts to full corporate warfare when CEO Thomas Blackstone hired private military contractors to assault Hell's Angels clubhouse and eliminate everyone who could testify about illegal drug trials. Ryan, we've got incoming hostiles, 30-plus contractors with military weapons surrounding our position, Bones announced, while armed bikers took defensive positions throughout the clubhouse. Pinnacle decided to eliminate entire problem instead of just witnesses. The attack began at 3:17 a.m. with flashbang grenades and automatic weapons fire that shattered windows and sent Charlotte screaming for her father. Ryan covered his daughter while Hell's Angels returned fire with equal intensity, their clubhouse becoming battlefield between corporate killers and outlaw bikers. "Daddy, I'm scared," Charlotte cried, clinging to Ryan while gunfire erupted around their makeshift shelter behind overturned tables and reinforced walls. "I know, baby. These men are protecting us," Ryan replied, hoping his words were true as corporate assassins attempted to murder everyone who could expose pharmaceutical crimes. Bones coordinated defense while shouting updates. "East wall breached. They're coming through the kitchen. Need suppressing fire on north entrance." The irony wasn't lost on Ryan. He was protecting his daughter from corporate executives while surrounded by motorcycle club that society labeled criminals, but who were dying to defend witnesses against pharmaceutical mass murder. The battle reached climax when Blackwater contractors breached Clubhouse's main door, forcing Ryan to make split-second decision about his daughter's survival versus his own moral principles about violence. "Charlotte, stay down!" Ryan shouted, grabbing pistol that Bones had given him while armed men advanced through smoke and debris toward their position. Ryan had never killed anyone, but watching professional assassins hunt his 8-year-old daughter erased moral limitations that peaceful life had maintained. He fired at contractors threatening Charlotte, his shots guided by parental fury that transcended legal boundaries. "Ryan, we're falling back to secure room," Bones called out while dragging wounded biker toward reinforced position. "Bring Charlotte now." The secure room was Hell's Angels' final defensive position, armored walls, independent communication, and weapons cache designed for exactly this scenario. Ryan and Charlotte huddled with surviving bikers while corporate killers searched for them through destroyed clubhouse. "Bones, how long can we hold out?" Ryan asked, his hands shaking from adrenaline and recognition that his ordinary life had been destroyed by pharmaceutical executives willing to commit mass murder. "Long enough for backup to arrive," Bones replied, checking ammunition while monitoring radio communications. "Oakland PD, FBI, and our brothers from 6 chapters are en route." But professional killers were systematic in their search, using thermal imaging and tactical expertise that would eventually locate their hiding place regardless of defensive preparations. The siege was broken when FBI agent Sarah Martinez arrived with federal task force that had been investigating Pinnacle Pharmaceuticals' independently of Hell's Angels intelligence gathering. Ryan's witness testimony had provided missing link in federal case that connected pharmaceutical executives to systematic murder of test subjects and witnesses. This is FBI. Blackwater contractors are operating without federal authorization. Stand down immediately or face federal prosecution, Martinez announced through bullhorn while tactical teams surrounded corporate assassins. Ryan watched through security monitors as federal agents arrested pharmaceutical companies' private army while securing evidence of systematic murder that would destroy Pinnacle's leadership through RICO prosecutions. Agent Martinez, we've got multiple federal violations: murder conspiracy, witness intimidation, illegal military contracting, reported tactical team leader. Pinnacle executives are facing life sentences. Charlotte emerged from secure room into daylight that revealed extent of corporate warfare waged against single father who'd witnessed file theft at his security job. The clubhouse was destroyed, but Ryan and his daughter were alive because Motorcycle Club had risked everything to protect witnesses from pharmaceutical criminals. "Daddy, are the bad men gone?" Charlotte asked, surveying destruction that corporate executives had caused while attempting to cover up their crimes. "Yes, sweetheart, they can't hurt us anymore," Ryan replied, finally able to promise his daughter safety that felt genuine rather than hopeful. Sometimes the most dangerous criminals wear suits and hide behind corporate boardrooms rather than leather vests and motorcycle clubs. Federal prosecution of Pinnacle Pharmaceuticals revealed systematic criminal enterprise that had killed dozens of test subjects while bribing officials to prevent investigation. Ryan's witness testimony became cornerstone of RICO case that dismantled billion-dollar pharmaceutical empire built on mass murder disguised as medical research. Mr. Callahan, your testimony about stolen evidence provided crucial link between Pinnacle executives and systematic witness elimination, Agent Martinez explained during preparation for criminal trials. Without your cooperation, these murders would never have been prosecuted. But Ryan's safety required federal witness protection that would separate him and Charlotte from Hell's Angels who'd risk their lives for his family's survival. The choice between protection and gratitude created moral complexity that legal system couldn't resolve. Bones, federal marshals want us in witness protection until trials conclude, Ryan explained to Motorcycle Club president who'd become unlikely ally and friend. "I don't know how to repay what you've done for us." The federal trials lasted 6 months as prosecutors systematically destroyed Pinnacle Pharmaceuticals through testimony from surviving witnesses, Hell's Angels intelligence, and documentary evidence recovered from corporate files. Ryan testified about stolen records while Charlotte waited in secure facility protected by federal marshals. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Pinnacle Pharmaceuticals represent systematic criminal enterprise that murdered test subjects, eliminated witnesses, and corrupted government officials to protect billion-dollar profits, prosecutor declared during opening statements. Blackstone and 12 other executives faced death penalty charges for murders disguised as pharmaceutical research, while additional charges included witness intimidation, federal conspiracy, and terrorism through private military contractors. Ryan's testimony was devastating to defense arguments, providing eyewitness account of evidence destruction that connected corporate executives to systematic murder of anyone who threatened their profits. Defense attorneys attempted to discredit Ryan through character assassination that portrayed him as unreliable single father whose testimony was compromised by association with Hells Angels Motorcycle Club, alleged to have criminal enterprises. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Callahan admits to cooperating with Hells Angels organization classified by federal authorities as criminal conspiracy involved in drug trafficking and violence, defense attorney argued. His testimony reflects bias rather than objective witness observation. But federal evidence corroborated Ryan's account while revealing that Hells Angels had cooperated with FBI investigation rather than obstructing justice as defense claimed. Motorcycle Club's protection of witnesses contradicted stereotypes about outlaw organizations. Agent Martinez testified that Hells Angels intelligence had provided crucial information about pharmaceutical crimes that federal agencies had been unable to detect through traditional investigation methods. Without Motorcycle Club cooperation, Pinnacle executives would have successfully covered up systematic murder. The conviction of Thomas Blackstone and 11 other Pinnacle executives on murder conspiracy charges validated Ryan's decision to risk his family's safety for justice that protected future victims from pharmaceutical crimes. Mr. Callahan, your courage in testifying against criminal organization with unlimited resources and willingness to commit murder has prevented countless future victims. Judge Patricia Williams declared during sentencing hearing, Ryan watched pharmaceutical executives receive life sentences while understanding that his ordinary life had intersected with extraordinary evil that required extraordinary allies to defeat. Bones attended sentencing hearing wearing formal Hells Angels dress uniform, his presence reminding everyone that outlaw motorcycle clubs had protected witnesses while pharmaceutical executives had tried to murder them. Your Honor, Hells Angels Oakland chapter respectfully requests recognition for Mr. Callahan's courage and Agent Martinez's professionalism in bringing justice for Jennifer McKenzie and other victims, Bones stated during victim impact testimony. 2 years later, Ryan and Charlotte emerged from witness protection to find their lives transformed by victory over pharmaceutical criminals who targeted them for elimination. Federal government provided restitution payment from seized Pinnacle assets, while Hells Angels offered permanent protection and honorary membership recognition. Ryan, you and Charlotte will always be family to Oakland chapter, Bones declared during ceremony honoring their courage. You proved that doing right things sometimes requires accepting help from unexpected sources. Charlotte, now 10, had processed their experience through child psychology that helped her understand good and evil in terms that didn't demonize the bikers who'd protected her from corporate killers. Daddy, Bones and his friends aren't bad people, are they? Charlotte asked with wisdom beyond her years. No, sweetheart. They're good people who society doesn't always understand, Ryan replied, recognizing truth that his experience had taught him about judging character through actions rather than appearances. Ryan accepted position with Federal Victim Advocacy Program, using his experience to help other witnesses find courage to testify against powerful criminals who threatened their safety through intimidation and murder. Pinnacle Pharmaceuticals' collapse prevented future illegal drug trials, while $2.3 billion in seized assets funded victim compensation and medical research oversight programs. Ryan's testimony inspired federal legislation requiring independent oversight of pharmaceutical testing while strengthening witness protection for corporate crime cases. Hell's Angels Oakland chapter received community recognition for protecting federal witnesses, changing public perception of motorcycle clubs willing to fight corporate crime. Ryan and Charlotte moved to new home purchased with federal restitution while maintaining lifelong friendship with bikers who'd risk their lives for justice. 5 years later, Ryan directed federal witness advocacy program that had helped over 200 families testify against corporate criminals without fear of retaliation. His partnership with motorcycle clubs expanded to include witness protection services that traditional law enforcement couldn't provide effectively. Charlotte grew up understanding that character transcends social labels, that some of society's outcasts possess more integrity than its most respected leaders. They learned that doing the right thing sometimes requires accepting help from unexpected allies, and that true courage means protecting others, even when it puts your own family at risk. Sometimes doing the right thing requires accepting help from unexpected allies, and true courage means protecting others even when it puts your own family at risk.